Okay. Yay, bottle time! Feeding Bo a bottle right now is really making me reflect on my breastfeeding journey. I recently saw a TikTok of girls talking about how like the first 2 weeks of breastfeeding are the hardest, and then after that it does get better. That was not my experience with either of my kids. I felt so guilty for not breastfeeding for very long. For Bo, he was in the NICU for 15 days and he had a feeding tube. And by the time he got out, it was so brutal to get accustomed to breastfeeding. He couldn't latch. And then I ended up getting thrush. I hired a lactation consultant and she was like, you can just quit. And I was always so thankful for her. Like, a lactation consultant could see the distress that I was in. I remember seeing this quote and it literally carried me through. And the quote was, breastfeeding is a big deal. Not breastfeeding is not a big deal. I feel like that's the most validating quote I've ever heard about breastfeeding. It validates the breastfeeder because it is such a huge commitment and it takes so much sacrifice to feed your baby from your body. It is a big deal to do that, and it's a huge accomplishment. If you don't do it, that's not a big deal. And my mom would always tell me, throughout all of time, women have struggled with breastfeeding, and that's why they had night nurses. You could hire somebody to come feed your baby. For some women, it's just so brutally difficult. And I don't know, that just always made me feel okay. Women have been feeding their babies from their bodies for all of time, but also women have been struggling with breastfeeding for all of time. It's like kind of my Roman Empire. I think about it all the time. Whatever you're doing really great.